On the afternoon of June 23rd, 2010, something unusual happened in offices, bars, and homes across the United States. People began watching a tennis match. At first glance, it wasn't an important match. John Isner, the 23rd seed, was facing Frenchman Nicolas Mahut in the first round at Wimbledon, on the side court number 18. Few people in the US believed Isner posed a serious threat to win the tournament, and even fewer could pronounce his opponent's last name. But as the match progressed, it quickly became clear that this was no ordinary tennis match. What started as a routine first round match turned into a historical event that would captivate both tennis and non tennis fans alike, who believed they were witnessing something extraordinary. And they were actually right about that. The match would go on to become the longest tennis match in history, lasting an unbelievable 11 hours and 5 minutes, spread over 3 days. The final score was 6-4, 3-6, 6-7, 7-6, and 70-68. Yes, you heard it right. 70-68 in favor of the Americans. So without further introduction, let's take a deep dive into this historical match that kept fans on the edge of their seats for 3 full days. Let's get started. Wimbledon 2010 hosted one of the most unbelievable events in tennis history, a match that pushed the boundaries of physical endurance and mental toughness. The match began on a Tuesday, June 22nd, under the bright Wimbledon skies. Both Isner and Mahut had no idea that they were about to become part of tennis history. The first 4 sets were competitive, but nothing seemed out of ordinary. Isner won the first set 6-4, breaking Mahut's serve in the ninth game after Mahut double faulted twice. Mahut bounced back, claiming the second set 6-3 and breaking Isner's serve in the second game. The third and fourth sets were both decided by tiebreaks. Mahut won the third set 9-7 and Isner won the fourth set 7-3. With the score tied 2 sets all, the match was stopped due to lack of daylight. At that point, the players and fans knew something was about to come, but no one could have predicted the historic battle that lay ahead. The players returned to the court on the following day to continue their epic battle in the fifth set. Isner failed to convert 4 match points on that day. Mahut as well failed to convert 2 break points on Isner's serve, with both relentlessly holding their serves before match had to be suspended for a second time due to no natural light at 59 all, and despite chants of "we want more" from the fans, stretching the match to unprecedented third day. But that wasn't even the most bizarre thing about that day. The scoreboard had suddenly stopped at 47 all and failed to keep up. It turned out later that the electronic scoreboard wasn't built to handle score that high, since no match had ever gone that long before. The scoreboard failure left court 18 without a technological method of keeping track of the score. But the human side of the match really held up. The chair umpire at that time, Muhammad Lahyani of Sweden, provided a running account of the match by microphone, and every 75 minutes, 2 teams of 14 linespeople and 4 groups of 28 ball boys rotated in and out of the match, keeping things moving for over 7 hours. What made the second day even more special was how much attention the match started to get. People who weren't originally interested in tennis suddenly found themselves watching closely, and what started as a normal first round match had turned into an unbelievable record-breaking marathon. By the end of day 2, Isner admitted that he had stopped thinking about the game and was playing purely on instinct. He was so exhausted that he was just serving and trying to hit forehand winners without much focus. He even lost track of the score after it reached something like 25 games old. It wasn't easy for either player to recover after such a tough second day, especially with the third day of tennis ahead. Isner mentioned that he had a recovery shake and took a nice bath that evening to help his body recover. American tennis legend Andy Roddick also brought him takeout food, including 3 boxes of pizza, all sorts of chicken and mashed potatoes. Isner joked later that night that he was so hungry, he felt like he could have eaten 12 Big Macs. He also shared that drinking coconut water helped him rehydrate and avoid the cramping he had experienced in the past. Isner and Mahut continued their battle on June 24th, serving over 100 aces each and holding serve for an incredible 168 consecutive games. By this point, they had been playing for over 10 hours, and neither player was willing to give an inch. At 68-69, with Mahut serving at 30 all, Isner passed Mahut at the net with a difficult inside-out forehand from the middle of the court that landed just inside the line. This brought up Isner's 5th match point and first on that day, which Isner converted with a down-the-line backhand passing shot and finally broke Mahut's serve in the 138 games of the 5th set, taking the match 70-68 after 67 minutes of play. The entire crowd at court 18 erupted in applause as Isner collapsed onto the grass, nervous, exhausted, and overwhelmed by the sheer effort it had taken to win this marathon match. Both players were left to recover from what had just happened. Isner, who had hit an astonishing 112 aces during the match, admitted that by the end, he had lost track of the score. And not surprisingly, he lost 6-love, 6-3, 6-2 to Dutchman Thiemo de Backer in 74 minutes, which ironically became the shortest men's match in Wimbledon history on that time. Isner said that his neck was so stiff and his shoulder felt like kinda dead that he couldn't hit any aces against de Backer. Against Mahut, Isner averaged 123 miles per hour on first serves, reaching a high of 143 miles per hour, while his average against de Backer was 150 miles per hour, with the fastest being only 130. Mahut too was feeling the effects of this historical battle. He was physically drained and mentally exhausted, even suffering from a back injury and later depression for 3 months. A sports surgeon later said that the players had risked dehydration, hyperthermia, and kidney damage during the long match, and that one or both might suffer some sort of injury or persistent problem over the next 6 months. And later that year, both players were awarded the ESPY Award for Best Record-Breaking Performance, and a plaque commemorating their battle was placed at court 18. Time even named the match one of the top 10 sports moments of the year. The match also made an appearance in Mr. B, the Gentleman's Rhymer's 2016 song Open String, and in 2015, HBO released a mockumentary titled 7 Days in Hell, which was inspired by the Isner-Mahut match. And interestingly, John Isner holds the distinction of featuring in 2 of the longest matches in tennis history. In 2018, he played another marathon match at Wimbledon against Kevin Anderson, which also lasted over 6 hours, but of course, it was nowhere near his match with Mahut. The Isner-Mahut match was a true test of human endurance and sportsmanship. For 3 days, the tennis world held its breath as 2 players pushed themselves to the absolute limit. They may have been exhausted, but they also made history. And as surreal as it was to watch, it became clear that this match was more than just a battle on the court. It was a defining moment for a generation of tennis fans. Now the question here remains, with the rules for the 5th set having changed, how long do you think the longest match in this new era could last? Leave a comment below and let's see when this record might be broken. See you in the next video.